Welcome, Realvolvers. This is Mark Stepp, Chief Innovation Officer here at Realvolve, and we've got some cool stuff for you. Be going over the Beyond the Basics with Realvolve. It's a new series I'm going to be trying to do on a regular basis, and really kind of cover more in depth on one or two features. Not just the basic things, but how it can actually be used within your business to be able to be more productive. Let me go ahead and make sure that you guys are seeing my screen. If you would, if you don't mind, everybody on the right-hand side of your screen, you should see your GoToWebinar control panel. In that control panel, you should have the ability to ask questions. There's a questions area where you can put in any kind of question stuff. I do want to try to keep the questions in the topic because we're going to be posting this really to some other training pieces that we're doing. So if as you're thinking through things, if you've got other questions outside this realm, if you don't mind, go ahead and post them. I may not answer them all on this particular series. So we'll do it as a separate email out to you. And if you would, please, everybody, give me a sign that you can hear me okay. If you write in there in the questions area, just yes, can you hear me? Awesome, lots of return. We've got a good crowd here today. With me, I have Lisa. Lisa's going to kind of monitor some of this and kind of go along and see if you guys have questions. I think she'll be able to answer some of them as well. We're going to be going over email notifications. And whenever I announced this particular topic, I had several people come in and say, I want to know how to email my lender whenever a buyer prospect comes. And whenever I sent out the topic, it was like, okay, yeah, we can do that. My intent was to talk about the notification piece that deals with whenever you send out an email. I mean, it goes through different notification processes, the process, the delivered, the open, the viewed. And I want to cover that along with the notification bell that's in the screen, as well as the notification browser. And those are kind of the important parts and why you need to know what's happening in those. I'm going to go ahead and, because the topic's kind of ambiguous in a way, and talk about the email notifications that you might send to somebody. Now, it could be sending to yourself or to a lender or something like that. And there's some special merge fields that kind of go along with that. And I want to make sure that you guys know about that. So first thing we're going to talk about really is the email notification on outbound emails, whenever you're sending out emails. In a contact, whenever you're sending an email, either through workflows or through an email, clicking on the little email icon, and you're sending the emails from within Realvolve, we do this. We send out an email from our SMTP servers, and that email then gets received by the person. But there's lots of things that happens in between, and I want to go through those and tell you why they're important. So you'll see down here, whenever you look at a status within an email, there's typically going to be a little notification piece right here. This one currently says click, and that's because this particular email was clicked on. We're going to go over that. So once you open up your email and you see more of it, you'll notice that down at the bottom there's also more notification statuses. We show the most current notification in the upper right, but there's more detail to each one of those, and we're going to go over that right now. So talking about processed, whenever you see a link, and it's the very first thing that happens whenever you send out an email within Realvolve, it gets processed. That basically means you've typed it up and you have sent it to our servers to be sent out. Whenever that happens, once it reaches our servers, we get notified that, hey, this email's reached us. We've gone to our server that's getting ready to send it out. That's all it is. It's just that it's there, it's ready. Now, we send out hundreds of thousands of emails all the time. So we send them out quickly, but it could be caught in a small queue, and as you're going through that, it may take a second or two before it shows process. But once it shows that process, you know that it's actually hit our server and it's getting ready to be delivered. The thing that can happen is before it actually gets delivered is it could be deferred. And if you see the defer status, that basically means that that email, for whatever reason, could not be immediately sent. There's something happening, either the internet's going wonky or something's happening. It's called a soft bounce, but it's not a bounce where they're not going to get it yet. It's just not been completely sent, and neither has it been rejected. So it's just kind of in limbo. We will try to continue to send that for up to 72 hours until it actually gets sent or it bounces, just to let you know what defer means. Once it's gotten past our servers and it actually reaches the contact's email server, we then get a status called delivered. That delivered status simply means that it's gone from us, from our servers, to their server. Not that they've received it. There's no guarantee that they've checked their mail yet or anything like that. It's just a matter of it's on their server. It's waiting there for them to pick it up. Whenever that happens, you'll see down at the bottom, whenever an email is sent, let me go back one here, back. Whenever you click on each one of these little icons that's here, it will open up and show you more detail. And it'll actually show you when, at what date, and what time that email hit their server. When was it delivered? The process was the same thing. I didn't actually show that, but it goes through that same process. So the delivered is important. It means that it's reached its server destination, but doesn't mean that the contact has actually received it in their inbox yet. The next thing, which is what you really want them to get to, is open. Now, open is a status that says, okay, not only has it reached their server, but they've actually opened that email and they are viewing it. Now, there's a little caveat to that. If you were to look at that email, the source code of that email, there is what is called an image beacon. And that image beacon is just a transparent little dot that you can't see. It's there for a reason, but that lets the server know that they did actually open that email. Every system, every email that has any kind of open indicator uses this same method. The drawback to that is the fact that if a person has their images turned off, they don't allow images to be shown, there's no way for us to know that they actually opened it. There's nothing from the server that tells us. There's nothing that goes through that. But if they open it, they show the images, then we know that it has been opened. And that's a good thing. If we click on that little open section right there, it will show you a list of each time that person opened it. So in this particular case, this email was sent, it was processed, delivered, and now we're in the open section. If I click on open, I can scroll down and see each time they were opened. And I'm going to get into a little bit more relevance on this a little bit later, but just see that each time that it is opened, it does timestamp it. And that's an important piece there. What you ultimately want to happen is that not only do they open it, but they click on your call to action. And every email that you send out, hopefully there's some kind of call to action. Now, obviously there's some situations where you may not need that, want that, but in most cases you want them to do something, typically, whether it's a marketing email and you want them to visit your website or click on some button that's on there, look at the house, the property information. There's lots of things that causes that click. Whenever they click on any of the items that's in there, it will indicate that with a click. And then again, it puts in a timestamp. So the more opens, the more clicks, the better. You want that. The one thing that could happen is you get a drop. And a drop basically means that at some point, sometime in the process, they have unsubscribed or they have marked it as spam. In which case, whenever it gets sent, instead of it going on and delivering it to the server, their server, it actually stops at our server. It gets dropped, and that's because they have indicated in some form or fashion that they don't want your email. And this is really kind of to save you guys. Many of you guys are already aware of, if you send spam, not only can you get banned from sending emails from a lot of different places, but you can actually get fined for it. So you want to make sure that you deal with spam in a respective manner that way. Because if you continue to send them stuff, they send it into the spam cops, I'm going to say, you can actually get fined up to $16,000 per email. And that can add up really quickly. So make sure that you guys take care of that. The drop piece allows you to have a little bit of a safe hold. It's not something that we want you to be constantly using, but if they have marked it as spam or they've unsubscribed previously, it will get dropped. A bounce is whenever an email is sent and the receiving server can't find the recipient. If for whatever reason they no longer have that account, it's got some kind of problem at that server, whatever, it bounces back, you know that there could be an issue. And you should, at that point, take a look at your bounces and figure out if there's a new email address, call them or whatever. I mean, that prompts right there, whenever you get a bounce like that, that's going to prompt you to say, hey, they're not getting my email for whatever reason. I really ought to give them a call. And that gives you a good reason to give them a call. Just wanted to update my records, make sure that I had everything. I noticed that the last time I sent you email, it bounced. Can I get your new email? So that type of stuff needs to be done. The unsubscribe. Now, we just recently added the unsubscribe feature. There are two different types of emails that go out. There is marketing email and there is transactional email. And the way we have it set up is whenever you have a marketing email, at the bottom of that email, it will automatically add a link on there that lets that person unsubscribe. And you want that. That again is more of a safety net to help you guys prevent from being fined in all reality. But basically what it does is it allows you to have an automatic place to let them unsubscribe. Whenever they do unsubscribe, again, you get notified. And that notification then will show up on the system so that you can deal with it in whatever manner is needed. Again, you should remove their address. You should deal with it in whatever way that you can. The one thing that is on that email, in addition to the unsubscribe, is an option where they can manage their email subscriptions, in which they can go in there and they can resubscribe to your emails. So if maybe they clicked it by accident and they need to go in there and resubscribe, that's a good thing. So they're giving you a second chance, so don't blow it. The one thing that I want to make sure of that you guys know about spam, whenever you get that spam indicator, same type of thing as all the rest of them, really you need to make sure that you deal with it as quickly as possible. Make sure that either you go in and delete their email address, or in the details, in the contact tab of any record, there's a record details section. And in that record details section, there's an active contact option. You can change that to no. And by changing that to no, whenever emails are sent, it will skip it. That way, that email will not be sent. Now, that if you're doing one-offs where you're trying to send an email, it will allow it to go. But if you're doing workflows, if you're doing mass emailing, that type of stuff, any kind of automated stuff, even if you've selected that person to send, it will skip it if you've got the active contact set to no. We do have something that will be coming soon. It's not there yet. I just want to make sure that you guys are aware of it. There is going to be an option for opt-out all, and is similar to them marking you as spam, but it's not as high level. Just to know that that could be down the road an option that's available. The second option that's coming very soon will be within the BombBomb area, so that we can indicate play. Now, we don't have it in there yet, but whenever an email is sent and that email is opened, we get the open. Whenever they click on something, we get that as well. But we can also, through some BombBomb interactions, be able to know, did they play it and how long did they play it? So that will be coming soon, just to let you know that once we get that, we'll let you guys know. So how is all these things important? And that's really what I want to get to, is kind of the deeper part of this. We deal with the email stuff through our relationship scoring in the engagement area. Are you engaged with these people, and are they engaged with you? Engagement meaning back and forth communication. Whenever you send an email and they receive it, if they reply back and there's things happening, you're engaged with each other. Well, what we're doing is adding the ability for whenever a person opens, clicks, views, or resubscribes, the engagement values will go up. And that's an important thing. So your scores are going up for any of the relationship people. And for those that haven't spent much time in the relationship scoring area, it's a good way to know what is the relationship with that person that you've got. Likewise, we're also having the ability to say, well, you've got some negative engagement happening. The email bounced. There was a drop. There was they unsubscribed, or worse, they are marking it as spam. If they're marking it as spam, the relationship is not going where it needs to go, and that's where things are kind of a sign of either good or bad. So make sure that you guys are dealing with those, making sure that you are dealing with that scoring mechanism, so that whenever these emails come in, you know what's happening. So hope that all makes sense. That is the email notification part in a nutshell. If you guys have questions about any of those, make sure that you send us an email or whatever. The next thing I want to talk about, which is a very simple one, is the notification bell. Up in the upper right-hand corner, you've got the little notification bell, and whenever a email comes in, whenever a person maybe from Zapier comes in, any kind of SMS text message, those types of things come in, you get notified. And whenever you click on that, then it shows you more notification of what's going on. In which case you can then click on the individual contact and it will take you to their contact record. That's all that notification does. But that's huge, because now you can look up in your upper right-hand corner of your screen and instantly tell, hey, I've got things I need to deal with. And you can go through and you can find out who emailed me, or what has happened, what text messages have come in, or what contacts have come in, and be able to quickly access them without having to go searching. It actually notifies you for that information. So I want you guys to be aware of what that bell does and how it can actually help you in your day-to-day business. Now, what will happen the very first time that bell goes off is that you will probably get in your browser, you'll get a little notification, and it'll give you your Realvolve account, the subdomain, domain. In my case, I'm using training.realvolve.com as my Realvolve account, and it will come up with a little notification. You have the option of either blocking those notifications or allowing them. If you allow them, what will happen is anytime your browser is opened and a notification does come in from emails from new users, or new contacts, I mean, or SMS text messages, all those things that can happen as notifications. And we're in the process of adding more notifications right now. You will get a little pop-up in your browser. No matter whether Realvolve is open or not, it will open up a little indicator saying, hey, you've got mail, or you've got an indicator of some sort that needs to be dealt with. And those are important. If you block it, those will be hidden. You can use the little gear to turn it on or off. If you don't want them on, you can go into your browser. All the browsers have the notification option, so it should pop up. This one here is the way it looks like in Chrome. So that is that in a nutshell. Hope that makes sense. Now, the second part of this, which I'm going to try to go through as quickly as possible and still be able to make sure that it makes sense, is sending notifications to different people. Now, the email that I got was, Mark, can you show me how to send a notification to my lender on a buyer prospect? What he was doing was, whenever a buyer comes in, and he works with a particular lender all the time, and the buyer didn't have a lender. Now, you could go in there and say, I want to send it to my top 3 lenders, or whatever. You just want to blast out something. You could do the same thing. But here's what happens. What we're going to do is we're going to set up an email in this case. I'm going to go into the template area, and I'm going to create a new template, and I'm just going to call it, in this case, I'm creating one that says new buyer lead to lender. It is a contact email used with contact. And over on the VIA, because we've just recently added this, we're using the VIA transactional. Now, transactional, again, basically means it doesn't have the unsubscribe feature to it. So you can make sure that it gets it. The lender, whenever they receive this, they won't have the unsubscribe. If you wanted to make it so that they could have unsubscribe, you can change that from transactional to email marketing, and it would. So just be aware of that. Add your subject however you want, and then create your email that you want to go out. Now, you'll see on here, I've got a couple merge fields, and these merge fields are important to understand because they're going to do certain things for you. Whenever you're dealing with a situation where the use with in, actually not use with, the with field of a activity is set to something other than workflow contact. If it's set to specific contact, if it's set to people that are tagged with, or if it's set with select on start, it's going to allow you to use a merge field from the person that this activity is actually being sent to in that with section. And this will make sense here in a little bit. So hang with me here. So what I'm wanting to do is send this email where it says, dear, and I've got a lender in here called Larry Lender. Okay, Larry is going to get this email, and he's the one that I have this addressed to. There is the body of the email is basically addressing it, talking about who the workflow was generated for. The workflow in this case was generated for the buyer, and in that we want to make sure that the details of that buyer are actually in there. So the email basically says, I just visited with John and Mary Smith, or whoever the person is, and they needed your help to find a loan. Can you set up an appointment with them and pre-qualify them, get them pre-qualified, and come back and give me the information, blah, blah, blah. So here's some basic information about them. The contact, and we're using merge fields to fill in their contact name, their mailing name, their phone, and their email. So just some basic fields. So what happens is whenever I send this, the fields get filled in with Larry, or you could put in Dear Larry or whatever. I was just visiting with Alfred and Annie, and they need your help finding a loan. And it goes through and does the thing. It fills in the fields. So we are dealing with the activity that you're sending. The activity was assigned on the with to Larry. but the workflow itself was started on Alfred and Annie. So this gives you the power to send out information to Larry, but still reference the buyer that goes along with it. And that's an important piece to that, to automate what you guys do. Now, let me take this and show you how this is built out. We create the activity. We go in there, we set this just as an activity within the workflow. We give it the title, who's going to do this, who it's assigned to, and on this width is where we want to assign Larry. So we're going to click on this, and we can specify that we're going to send this email. We've got down here at the bottom where the action is an email. I'm sending it to a specific person called, in this case, Larry Linder. The workflow is really for the buyer prospect, but I've got a specific person, not the workflow contact, but a specific person that I'm sending this to. Whenever that happens, the activity will send the email to Larry. Okay. Whenever I set up the action of that, I'm basically saying, okay, I'm going to send the email. I want to send it immediately, so that as soon as this activity is put on my calendar, I just want it blasted out. You can set it so that it sends it manually or automatically. There's some other options in there, but typically in something like this, you just want to blast it out. You want to go ahead and send it out. You're sending an email and you're choosing the new buyer lead to lender, which was the template that we had picked earlier, and it tells you that it's going to be sending that. So what happens is it sends it, and you're all good. Now, if you had any, if you looked at that, there was a problem with doing what we were trying to do, and that's in the pronouns. Now, just within the past few weeks, we've added some new merge fields, and I want to make sure you guys are aware of this, because this can be really helpful to you guys if you think about it. In this case, I was visiting with John and Mary, and they need your help finding a loan. Okay, what if it's an individual person? Hey, I was visiting with John, and they need your help. Well, John's a single person. You don't necessarily want to use the word they. You want to use a different pronoun. Same thing for them and their. Now, how we do that is this. You can use special merge fields called contact, pronoun, personal, and they show you the examples of he, she, they, his, her, their. This sounds complicated, but hang with me, okay? There are two sets of merge fields when you're dealing with contact, and that's the person that's receiving the email, or the workflow contact, which is the person that the workflow was generated for. So in this case, I'm not going to want to use the contact pronouns, because the contact pronouns is going to Larry, and there's no need for me to use those pronouns for him, unless I was also referencing him back to the person working on the workflow itself. So what we can do then is, by using these pronouns, and I've got them kind of highlighted in yellow here, whenever I send this to an individual person, say George, I was just visiting with George, and he will need your help finding the loan. So the they has changed to he. Can you set up an appointment with him? And again, it's just using one of the appropriate pronouns to get him qualified and get back with me, so that I can find something in his price range. Blah blah blah. So the challenge in using the pronouns is the fact that we got to make sure that we use the sex field, and this is a male female, not a yes no. So whenever you're filling in a contact, in the contact detail field, there is a sex field, so that you know it's male or female. Based off of that selection, if it's an individual person, it will fill in the appropriate pronoun for the sex, either he or she. You'll see that we show the different examples on this. So whenever you're filling in and creating these, you can do bracket, bracket, and use one of the pronouns you want to use. Just start typing in they or she, and it will show you the list of pronoun options that you've got available to pick from. So filling these merge fields in are very easy. It's just a matter of picking those. That way, whenever you send these emails, you no longer have to worry about making sure that they're proper for the different people that go out. So that is it in a nutshell. The two things we wanted to talk about: notifications, making sure you're notified on things that happen, and the notifications whenever you're sending out notifications to people. You could also do the same thing, just before I lose this here, we could do the same thing to send out a notification to yourself. If I go back to the option on right here, you could be sending out a text message to yourself. Maybe it says send text message to me, or whatever the title is on this, and the specific contact is your contact record in Realvolve. Could be selected there, and then you could set up this so that instead of being an email, maybe it's an SMS text message. So as soon as a new lead comes in from your lead generation website or whatever, it sends a text message to you, or both. Maybe it sends an email and a text message to you. And it contains the lead information using that workflow contact merge field within the system. So lots of notification capabilities there, so that either you're notified or somebody else that you want to notify people about those contacts in Realvolve. So did that make sense, guys? I hope it did. I'm going to try to see if there's any questions real quick and see if we can answer and go through them. Lisa, were any of these that you saw, were you able to answer any of these?
I'm not able to see the questions on my end, Mark. I'm not sure why.
Oh, that's not good. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, let me go through a couple of these real quickly. If someone has preview screen on their email and they do not have it actually open to read it, will Realvolve think it is open? So if they actually click on it, and the preview screen itself won't, on most email programs, if an email comes in and they have their preview open, they have to physically click on it before it actually opens in that email section to read it. And that at that point is whenever the image, that transparent image, gets shown, and the indicator then opens up. So they do have to typically click on it. If they just happen to be on that email, it does show it, then it would, but I'm not aware of any email programs that just automatically open the email for you. Let me see what else we have here. I've sent an email to multiple parties in a transaction. Each party does not see the other recipients. If I say, hey guys, I've attached the following, they respond and only one of them is sent. Okay, we are going to be addressing that. Whenever we send out an email, we do send them out individually. And the reason is what you just saw, those merge fields. Those merge fields need to be set up specific to whoever's receiving them. One of the things that will be added in the future, I'm not sure exactly when, but sometime hopefully in the near future, in the actions, whenever you're dealing with an action, we're going to have an option so that you can CC or BCC, so that the email that's being sent gets sent once, but whoever is on the CC and BCC will get copies of them, so that whenever the reply happens, it will properly do that. Then we're going to add that as another drop-down option, so you can pick multiple people and by party member type. So maybe you want the lender and the appraiser, or the listing agent and the buyer agent. You want to make sure that they are getting CC'd on everything that's going out. That will happen at that point. So hang with us on that. I'm going to answer just a couple more here. The rest of these I'll probably have to go through because I was wanting to keep this particular session as short as possible. And I know a lot of you guys are on time frame, so we'll go through that. If someone unsubscribes, does the active status change automatically? Not yet. That will be a setting within the settings area to let you do that. Some of the the notifications are still being added, and that is one of them to allow you to do that. So hang tight on that one as well. It is coming. Okay, when I receive an incoming email, I get two emails on my phone. One is for notifications, and one is, we do have notifications in our system so that you can, whenever an email comes in, and you're probably getting that because you've been CC'd on it, so potentially you could turn off the CC or the BCC option, and that should take care of it. The other option that we have discussed, and we've not really gone through with it yet, is just allowing you guys to just totally turn off notifications in that way. But then you run the risk of not being notified, and that could run the risk of missing something that you don't really want to miss. Where can I see a list of all the merge fields that are available within Realvolve? Okay, so we do have in our help section, and I probably should have pulled that up. Let me go to a screen here real quick. And if you go to help.realvolve.com and you type in merge fields, or I think it's merge fields, list of merge field codes. In the list, there is a whole bunch of items in the guidebook. And if you look here, we've got a tutorial for workflows, but we also have the complete list of merge fields that are available. And you can pick and choose from those. But one thing that you may want to make sure that you guys know about is whenever you're dealing with your templates and you're typing in information, the easiest way to deal with merge fields is simply type in a part of the keyword itself. So in this case, I'm doing a contact merge field. If I wanted to add one of those merge fields, I just click on bracket, and it brings me up a list. And as I continue typing, it will find those words that I'm typing in the list. So if I type in the word they, it'll find the word they in the contact pronoun for pronoun personal, or workflow contact personal. So you can do keyword searching in your merge fields as you go along. If you wanted to do like, an address, just type in the word address and it'll come up with contact home address and you can pick it. So you don't have to know the exact verbiage, just what field am I wanting, and a general name will show everything that then has that word address in it. So the more specific that you type in, the more detailed it'll get. Eventually, it won't show anything if you type in too much because it's too detailed and there's nothing in there with that. So if you have any other questions, we're going to cut it off right now. Send us an email, support@realvolve.com, or visit the live chat or submit a support ticket. We'd be happy to answer any of those questions. I'm going to go back through and see if there's any of those questions that weren't related to our topic and answer those as well. If you don't hear from us, maybe I missed it, please get back with me and I'd be happy to do that. So guys, have a great day, and we'll see you in 2 weeks. We're going to be doing a BombBomb, kind of behind the scenes with BombBomb as well, and we'll have some of the BombBombs, including Steve Passanelli. He's going to join us in our BombBomb training for Realvolve. So take a look at that. We'll be sending out more invitations on that. This is just the first session on this one. Go back and re-sign up for the second. You guys have a great day. Thanks.
Awesome. Thanks, Mark. You too.